Tonight, many of America's farmers already feeling the pinch are worried about the possibility of more challenges.
Farmers are literally having to pour the milk on their fields, dump it somewhere, because there's no place to take it. And at the same time, these farmers have got bills, and how they're going to come out of this and survive.
If you take a look at the size of the largest plant-based beverage, which is almond, it isn't even as large right now as what the lactose-free milk market is supposed to be.
On August 1st, Washington imposed a 35% tariff on Canadian goods, disrupting decades of balanced trade. The official explanation was rebalancing trade, but most observers saw it differently. The real target was Canada's protected dairy sector. For farmers in states like Montana and Wisconsin, these tariffs were less a safeguard than a setback, raising costs and creating new problems at home.
The U.S. tariff rate is now the highest it has been since the Great Depression in the 1930s. And these tariffs are being applied to all countries on nearly all goods. And the changes in U.S. policy go beyond tariffs.
Canada's response was immediate and firm. Ottawa froze negotiations with Washington, and lawmakers across party lines stood united. Their message was clear: dairy was not up for negotiation.
The world is changing rapidly. The largest economy, the United States, is fundamentally reshaping all of its trading relationships. And we're moving from an age that lasted decades, an age when free trade was a motor of global economic growth, to a new age, an age of economic nationalism.
This show of unity surprised Washington. For years, Canada had faced pressure to open its markets. But this time, the reaction was different. Trade slowed, contracts were cancelled, and American farmers faced mounting losses. Ottawa had drawn a firm line around dairy products such as milk, butter, and cheese, leaving U.S. officials to confront a new reality.
Canadians are sending a message that there's no winners in a trade war. There will be job losses on both sides of the border, and particularly in the U.S.
In Canada, supply management was not viewed as an obstacle, but as protection, shielding farmers from collapsing prices and preserving rural communities. For many Canadians, the system represented stability and survival, not restriction.
Well, we understand that we're now in an era of protectionism, and our entire country has been built on free trade amongst our provinces, but there's been many barriers to commerce within Canada, and we think that we can really do a better job at supporting ourselves inside our country.
Dairy in Canada goes beyond economics. It supports thousands of families, sustains small towns, and reflects a national commitment to protecting farmers from volatile global markets. That is why Ottawa elevated dairy to a matter of sovereignty, passing legislation that permanently prevents future governments from trading it away in international deals.
The supply management system is a balance, and we need to control what is coming from the outside to keep the system working.
The White House pointed to tariffs as high as 200 or even 300% on Canadian dairy. But the facts tell a different story. Under North American trade rules, large volumes of U.S. milk already enter Canada tariff-free. In fact, quotas have not even been filled. The so-called high tariffs don't currently apply. For Ottawa, the dispute was less about numbers and more about control. Who sets the rules of trade across the border?
Nope, it's not just one little carton. Under the USMCA that Trump's own first administration negotiated, Canada guaranteed that tens of thousands of metric tons per year of U.S. milk imports would be tariff-free. So not low tariffs, zero tariffs. And here's something else Trump didn't mention. The U.S. currently isn't even at half of that tariff-free maximum level. So those high Canadian tariffs that apply above the maximum...
Dairy became the unlikely centerpiece of the conflict. In states such as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, it is not only a key industry, but also a political issue. Targeting Canada's dairy system allowed Washington to appeal directly to voters. Yet experts noted that even if Canada opened its market, it would not solve America's problem of oversupply. Canada's market is simply too small to absorb the surplus.
This is not a well-articulated strategy, and as far as I can tell, doesn't really get us very far. So, where's the bottom? At some point, and we're pretty close to it, we're effectively cutting off all trade between the countries.
Washington escalated the dispute with new tariffs, hoping Canada would eventually yield. Instead, Ottawa treated the confrontation as a test of national resolve. The consequences spread quickly beyond dairy to industries such as steel, aluminum, and automobiles. For automakers in Detroit, the financial toll was immediate and severe.
That's a vote of no confidence. That's saying that the very group that these tariffs were meant to help, which is American businesses, markets believe that they're now worth less. Now, that's before thinking about the pain on consumers and the pain on our trading partners. That's the short-term pain.
Modern vehicles rely on supply chains that cross the US-Canada border multiple times. Tariffs on Canadian components pushed production costs higher, adding thousands of dollars to the price of each car. Analysts warned consumers could face increases of up to $9,000 per vehicle, a blow felt directly in household budgets.
What's going on is not a transition. It's a rupture, and its effect will be profound.
Canada's position hardened. Prime Minister Mark Carney stated plainly, dairy was non-negotiable. Ottawa reinforced that stance with support programs for farmers and new trade agreements with Europe and Asia, ensuring markets remained open. The strategy went beyond defense. It was an active countermeasure against US pressure.
The United States will have higher tariffs than at any point since the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. It will have tariffs roughly 10 times higher than any of our large trading partners. And those trading partners are retaliating. So effectively then he's shutting off America from the rest of the world economy, from most of the world. So the people who this is going to hurt the most is the United States. It's people, it's mums and dads and families in America.
What began as a trade dispute over dairy soon grew into a broader clash of national identity. Washington expected Ottawa to bend under pressure. Instead, Canada demonstrated resilience, underscoring its role as an essential partner in North America's economic network. The conflict raised a central question. When neighbors turn into rivals, who truly stands to gain?